So here's a good idea. Pay attention. This is good. So why do we have three matzahs at the Seder Pesach? There are different explanations for it. I saw a really nice explanation. You heard this actually. I saw a really nice explanation to this. It says that this is like two parts of our Torah. So why do three? So in the Torah, there's three matzahs that are eaten at three different intervals. That when we say halachma at the Seder Pesach, we say halachman, and this is the bread. This is the bread of affliction that our forefathers ate when they were in Egypt. So there was a matzah that they eat even before they left Egypt. And this is understood to be a matzah that sustained them as a poor person's food. This is what they ate. And when they were in Egypt as slaves, there's that matzah. There's a second matzah, which they ate with the Passover offering. They ate the Passover offering in the night of the Exodus with matzah, maror, and the korban. Then there was one after the Exodus, which that's the one we know about. They didn't have time for their bread to rise. So they had matzahs, and they ended up eating the matzahs later on. There's three types of matzahs: before the Exodus in Egypt, at the night of the Exodus, and after the Exodus. That's one reason why we have three matzahs at the Seder. Now, there's a term connected to matzahs. It's lechem oni, bread of affliction. This usually understood in the following way: when you're eating the matzah, you're trying to remember the affliction of our forefathers in Egypt, foremothers, etc. And it's supposed to bring up all those feelings connected to that. A friend of mine, Rabbi Seth Herstick, he said in the name of his rabbi, Rav Asher, I don't know the last name, he says a beautiful idea that I never heard before. He says, when you talk about bread of affliction, we understood two ways, like I said, or the bread that sustained us during our affliction. That first type of bread, we were in Egypt, not the bread that we ate, the bread of our affliction when we were slaves, so the bread that sustained us when we were in Egypt. And this turns out to be something completely different. It's not just remembering the tough times. It's remembering that bracha from Hashem, that we had enough bread, that we could survive throughout the whole slavery and through everything we went through. And he says this is where we can find Hashem in the Seder. There are many ways to understand. Hashem frees us in a dramatic way, but it's also the same Hashem who sustains us in our tough times. And we can bring to mind maybe when you're in a tough time and someone just made a phone call, reached out to you, and that kind word pulled you through. Or that moment when you just felt like everything was not going to work out, and you found some encouraging words to strengthen and lift your spirits. It could be anything, something that sustains you in your time of affliction. That's what we want to think about when reading the matzahs. This is a different direction, not just the fact that Hashem freed us from a tough time, but that in our tough times, it might be tough, but Hashem's there the whole time, and we should think about that in our lives today as well.